Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 49 of Cameron's Nostalgia Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strickland, and today I have with me Guy Gilchrist. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's actually pronounced Cameron. It's Gilchrist. Guy Gilchrist.
Guy Gilchrist.
Yeah. Very, very good to see you, Cameron.
It was very nice to meet you. Now, let's begin our first question. How did you get interested in cartooning?
I've always been interested in cartooning. My mom was a very good cartoonist, and and we were very poor when I was a child. She worked as a waitress, and she would open up the newspaper every day, and the funnies were in there. And she would show me how to draw some of the characters, draw the ovals and things like that, to start learning the shapes to draw characters. And so all day long, while she worked, I would draw. And at 4 o'clock every day, she would walk me across the street in this tiny little town in Connecticut that we lived in, called Winstead, Connecticut. And we would cross this tiny little side street, and there was an appliance store there. We didn't own a television. But the great Walter Lantz, the creator of Woody Woodpecker and Andy Panda and Chilly Willy, he had a show where he would show cartoons, but then he would draw on those television programs, and I would watch him. And he was doing the same thing that my mother was. And I saw that he was making the whole world happy by creating stories and characters that were making life fun and we could laugh. And I realized that that's what I wanted to do, that that's what I was doing, even as a 3 and 4 year old, was drawing and handing my cartoons to people and making them happy. And so that's how I started. And I did that my whole childhood. But I didn't just draw, you see, I wrote as well. Because when I would see uh, on a cartoon, a Walter Lantz production or Walt Disney Presents, well, I would look at those cartoons and those books, the books of those cartoons, and the funnies, where it said, Pogo by Walt Kelly, or Beetle Bailey by Mort Walker. And so I would look at all these things and say, okay, well, I have to write stories and jokes and not only draw the characters, but I need to learn to paint them too. And I need to create characters around those characters and the worlds that they live in. And so, this was the late 1950s and early 1960s, and we didn't have computers or anything like that. Uh, your world was your neighborhood. And so, my ignorance and my innocence about that there were writers, there were colorists, there were this, there were that. Well, I looked at this stuff and said, well, I need to do all of these things if I want to be that person. And so I did. That became what I wanted to do, was to tell stories and make people happy. And I did it from a very, very early age.
Nice. So, you're gonna draw Kermit the Frog.
Okay. What, you want me to draw Kermit the Frog right now? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, but you won't be able to see me doing it because I don't have a camera person. But um, I'll show you a Kermit that I drew yesterday. How's that? There was a girl named Lydia, and I'm on Cameo, and this was a picture that I did because she's graduating college. And this morning, before I came on, because this is what I do. I draw. And you didn't tell me that you wanted me to be able to draw. We don't have a camera person here that can move the camera, Cameron. Okay. But you see, I drew all of these Kermits this morning. And the interesting thing is, whenever I draw Kermit these days, because of my love of Jim Henson, who was my boss and my mentor, I always put a quote from Jim on every single one. See this one here, because of course Jim and Kermit are very, very close. This one says, embrace and open up your love, your joy, your truth, and most especially your heart. This one says, when I was young, my ambition was to be one of the people who make a difference in this world. And this one that says, if you care about what you do and work hard at it, there isn't anything you can't do if you want to. Jim and I worked very, very hard all day long and all night long. We barely ever took a break all those years. And since he can't draw me right now, I just figured I'd come on and say hello, Cameron. How are you, Cameron?
I'm doing good, Kermit.
Good, 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 good. It's my 70th birthday. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
You did. Okay. Good. Good. Guy's been drawing me now. Do you know how many years Guy's been drawing me? Hmm? How many years do you think Guy's been writing and drawing me and the Muppets? Take a wild guess.
Let me think.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I can't remember.
180 years? Is that what you said? Oh, no. 45 years, Cameron. 45
45
years.
years.
45 years. That's right. You got the answer correct. That's right. That's right. That's right. You know who the first Muppet that I knew was, Cameron?
Ralph.
That's right. Well, Ralph the dog here. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good, good, good. Hey, I think I'm going to sing a song for you.
All right.
All right, here we go. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. It's not how you go, it's how you land. 100 to 1 shot, they call him a klutz, but he can outrun the favorite if he's just got the guts. Your final result will not diminish, and you can be the cream of the crop. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. Cameron, and you're gonna finish on top. There you go, buddy.
So, are you a puppet?
So,
I'm sorry.
so, I no, you just said so.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You have another question. You have a question or a comment for me. It's your interview. You do it.
Will you be able to draw me?
Well, Cameron, I can draw everything and everyone. But as I mentioned before, you see right here, I don't know if you can see it. So this is my board, right? Right?
Right.
Right. And this is me sitting at my board. And we can't do both.
Are you a
But
puppeteer?
yes, I can draw. Yes, I can draw every single thing in the whole world.
I see.
Mm-hmm. It's not an ego-y thing. It's because I have drawn everything one way or another. I've learned to draw everything that I can see. Caricatures and portraits are not my big thing. However, uh, I do them frequently. Um, but I'm not one of those guys that you know when you're at an amusement park or something, and someone draws a caricature real fast. I'm not that guy. Uh, I'm more of a I'm more of a person that creates characters. And as I mentioned before, we don't have two cameras here, so I can't do both. We would need one camera looking down on my board, and and another one that was coming up to me, and can't do that. Usually in an interview, Cameron, if people ask me if they're asking me to draw something while I'm doing a Zoom, they ask that, and then I have a camera person that works with me on that. But today is a Sunday, and it's also Memorial Day weekend, and so everyone is off, and the only person in my studio is me.
All right. So, what was your first drawing?
I have no idea. Don't remember. I've been drawing since the day I was born, basically. So I don't remember. I could tell you what my last one was, but I can't tell you what my first one was. The first character I think that I ever learned to draw was Bugs Bunny, because I think that that was one that my mom showed me. And the interesting thing was about that was that, do you know what an art director is? No? Well, an art director is the person that is in charge of all of the other artists at a place and shows them how to draw and how to work on different products and television shows and movies and things like that. And the interesting thing is in around well, right after Jim passed away in 1990, I became the art director in New York for Warner Brothers Looney Tunes. And Bugs Bunny, of course, is part of that. And he's one of the probably the very first character I ever learned to draw.
All right.
It's been very interesting over the years that besides all of the characters I've created on my own, many of the different characters that I loved as a child from Disney and Warner Brothers and MGM, that would be Tom and Jerry. I got to be their art director. So that's been a real neat thing in my life.
Are you a puppeteer?
No, I am not. Uh, I only perform puppets uh, for when I go to Comic Cons and things like that, because I go to Comic Cons and uh, in order to remember Jim Henson and to remember the spirit of Jim Henson. So the only characters that I really puppeteer are Kermit and Rolf because they were Jim's characters. And I want people to remember Jim. You know, there are, and I always tell everyone that I am not a Muppet performer. I am Jim Henson's original cartoonist and writer, and a very good friend of Jim's. And I want Jim to always, always, always be remembered. You know, how old are you, Cameron?
I'm 21.
Okay. So you see, Jim has been gone now for 35 years. And so, and I was very, very lucky, to work right beside him for 10 years and be the Muppets for the whole world in the newspapers. I was the Muppet Show after the Muppet Show went off the air. And 150 million people read what I was writing and drawing in every country in the world. And so Jim is a very important part of my life. I just wrote a whole book about Jim and me and the effect that he had on my life. So I want the next generation of children to remember who Jim was. So I bring Kermit with me and I bring Rolf with me and the Muppet Theater to the Comic Cons and stuff. And we talk about Jim. But no, I'm not really a puppeteer. If I am a puppeteer, I'm a pretty bad one because I haven't practiced it enough. But I'm getting better and better, at it because I want to be as good as I can at anything that I do.
So, who made Kermit?
Jim Henson,
Uh, do you have a Kermit puppet it was
I
made?
just I just showed it to you. I just brought Kermit on just a few minutes ago. Remember? Of course I have a Kermit puppet. He's right here. The very first Kermit was created by Jim Henson. And sometime in about 1954. And then in 1955, he introduced Kermit on an afternoon show on a local television station in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area. And then a couple 2 months later, a show called Sam and Friends that was local to the DC area as well happened. And that was the very beginning of all of the Muppets. And that's why we're celebrating 70 years of the Muppets this year. And I've been lucky enough to be around for 45 of them.
Who made the Ralph puppet?
You mean the puppet that I have
Mm-hmm.
or who created Rolf?
Puppet that you have.
Oh, his name is Miles. And he is on Instagram. It's Miles Muplicas, and he's very very creative and very very good. And I designed that Rolf, and he did it. We did it together, and he did a lovely lovely job. And Cameron, so we were going to talk for about 20 minutes. I apologize, but I have a very heavy duty schedule today. And but we've been on for almost a half an hour. And so I want to give you an opportunity to ask me uh, the last question that you would like to ask me, or to tell me anything that you would like to tell me, because we're going to have to say goodbye in a moment.
How do I spell Miles' last name?
Uh, okay, well, are you on Instagram?
No.
Okay. Well, it's Miles, Myles, and then it's Muplicas, like replicas of Muppets. Muppli. Let me see. Muplicas. MUP. Yeah, so it'd be Muppelicas. Okay? And if you talk to Miles, tell him how much I love him, and he's great.
You have to do it very slowly so I can type it in.
Well, why don't you write that? Why don't you? Okay. Okay. Muppelicas. Okay.
Got it.
All right, great. Okay, Cameron, do you have any other? Okay, was that your last question to me?
Well, it's been an honor.
Well, it's been an honor to talk to you too, and I hope that you will keep up with your love of puppets. And it's a wonderful thing to do. And the arts, all of the arts, music and puppetry, drawing and writing and painting, dancing, all of the things. The arts are a wonderful, wonderful thing to have in our lives. They enrich our lives and they grow our heart and our imagination. And being an artist in any way makes our lives and the lives around all of our family and all of our loved ones and the whole wide world a much richer and lovelier place. It's been an honor talking to you. And I hope that you have just the absolute best day, Cameron.
So, one more question. If uh have you ever met Kermit?
Yes, Cameron. I knew Jim Henson and Kermit incredibly well, and I have been writing for Kermit the Frog for 45 years now. So yes, and Kermit is wonderful, and I'm going to leave you with a Kermit the Frog quote. Okay, and then we're going to say goodbye. Okay? Okay? Life's like a movie. Write your own ending. Keep believing and keep pretending. That's how you get it done, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Well, God bless you, my boy. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Are you a
Take care now. Bye bye.
bye? So, stay tuned for more guests coming up. Until next time, peace.